Hi, my name's Kathy Miller and this is Starting Scenery, 5 minutes on roads.
Roads are a vital part of our layouts. If you look at any map, a view from above, roads weave their way through our landscapes, and they also weave their way through our layouts and dioramas. I plan in my roads right from the outset. They're such a vital part. I use them to move someone's eye through a scene. They follow it down the road to the next building. You can use the same with your railway and railroad lines, but roads are just another way of doing this. You can use them to add little scenes, vignettes. Once you know what you want from your roads, you can put the base in before you do anything else. And for tarmac or asphalt roads, a flat base is really helpful. It is just so much easier for most of the techniques you can use for modelling them. You can see here on my Earth diorama, which I did a couple of weeks ago, the first thing I did was put in the course for the road. It showed me exactly where I wanted it to go. But this is going to be a gravel track, so I don't actually want it to be flat. Now on to methods of modelling roads. First up, tarmac or asphalt, probably the most common, and there are so many ways to model this. I've done quite a few videos on them, so I'm not going to go into great depth here. What you won't see in these though is the most common method, which is plaster. I tried it once on my first layout and I had a lot of problems with sanding it flat. I will come back to it at some point, but in the meanwhile, I found all these other methods. My personal favourite is 2mm craft foam. It's got the right texture, it's easy to use, and it's very easy to put around complex track work. I've had great results with, this is grit, it's either carborundum grit, which is silicon carbide, or chinchilla dust on the right, a little bit better for O-scale and above, and you just sprinkle it over paint or glue, and then paint it again so it all looks the same. There are spray paints. These are Rust-Oleum aged iron or Desert Bisque, and they produce great results. And two products I use on almost everything, chinchilla dust and tile grout. Yep, even tile grout. Now I have done so many videos on tarmac. This time I'm going to do dirt tracks, muddy tracks, and a little bit of gravel path thrown in there. For the gravel path, you can either use chinchilla dust, or here I'm going to use ballast for a change. I'm also using tile grout mixed with a bit of sand. You mix them together just because otherwise the tile grout will resist the glue a little bit too much and you'll struggle to get it to flow properly. You also need trucks with tyres to create tyre ruts. Now the ones with the tyres with a little bit more pattern are definitely more useful here. Gravel roads are easily modelled with fine ballast. Now the biggest problem I have is not getting my ballast to fall off the end. A little bit of glue helps here. Once all your ballast is in place, you can run a truck through. Now it will give you the spacing that you need for the ruts and make it look realistic. For the rest of the muddy road, I use tile grout. Now this again, very simple, put it on, run trucks through it. If you're really careful, you'll get some beautiful tyre prints. If you don't want to have tyre prints, use the back of a brush instead, but the trucks are still useful to give you the distance that the wheels should be apart. One last pass through with the truck, and it's time to glue it. I like to do a really light coat first and just set that surface to capture those tyre tracks without flooding it. So I use a light coat of isopropyl alcohol and water, that's a third isopropyl alcohol, and then a light coat of about a sixth white glue or matte Mod Podge in water. I let that set, and then I soak it with the glue so that it all soaks through and the underneath layers are also glued. If you do this much isopropyl alcohol and water and then this much glue when it's first there, all those tyre tracks will just soften and you'll lose the detail. So if that's what you want, go ahead and do it. I find these sprays won't soak into the deep gravel though, so I like to go through with a dropper bottle of about a third white glue and water. And that just helps us set it all up. Once it's all dry, you've got a choice. You can add some dried tile grout, and it's lighter now than the glued tile grout, and you'll get a lovely hard-baked road look. Alternatively, if you want to make it look muddy, add something like Tamiya acrylic clear varnish. I find if you use a normal acrylic varnish, they're a bit thin and they soak through, but the Tamiya is thick enough that you get a muddy look.
Hope you enjoyed it. If you've got any questions, comments, you do things differently, tell me in the comments below. Otherwise, you know the drill. Subscribe, hit the bell button. If you want to support me further, Patreon, my website. See you next time.